Thanks for your company. Information reaching Joy News indicates a human rights court has quashed a 3-year ban imposed on lawyer Francis-XAVIER SOSU'S. The Human Rights Court 1, presided over by Her Ladyship Justice Gifty Ejeado, has set aside the orders of the General Legal Counsel suspending the renowned human rights lawyer from practice for 3 years. Her Ladyship on 11th July 2018 also set aside the 1-year mentorship handed him. She found that the charges of touting and personal advertisement as grave misconduct were not in accordance with law. This follows the hearing of an application for judicial review filed by lawyer SOSU'S on 3rd November 2017. Lawyer SOSU'S joins us on the line. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. First off, how do you feel about this ruling?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to your cherished viewers. I feel great and I'm so excited. And I'm so grateful to God for His mercies and His faithfulness. I'm just so dead and very excited about this ruling.
We knew of the story that led to you being suspended for 3 years, but just briefly run us through from the point you were suspended by the General Legal Counsel to date, how you've been faring.
Well, I would say that it's been a very difficult time, being very active practitioner and suddenly going out of practice for more than a year now. It's been really challenging dealing with, clients whose cases you were handling and all that. It was really challenging. But I must say that, by the help of family, my wife and my children, my parents, and my church, and all the loved ones out there, I have been able to stay until now, and I'm so grateful to all of them.
So what next for you, lawyer?
Well, I look forward to going back into practice. I know that the effect of this ruling is simply putting me back into practice. And I'm praying that I will be able to come back well fortified and having also learned from all the things that have gone on within this 1 year. It's been a very bitter experience, but I think it's giving me more energy. It's giving me more direction and more focus, even as I bounce back into practice.
And finally, any lessons throughout the whole experience?
Well, it's very serious lessons of just being very careful with the caliber of people we deal with generally as clients, because there are many who would come begging, crying, seeking for your help. But the same people are really sometimes the source of your woes and problems. So we just need to be very, very careful moving forward and making sure that we all uphold in all high esteem the professional standards so that we don't fall victim of any of these things. And I believe moving forward, I would just come back a better person and a better lawyer.
Thank you very much for your time, lawyer Francis-XAVIER SOSU'S. You heard there. Well, he was handed a 3-year ban by the General Legal Counsel, and we're just learning that the court has quashed that decision. Away from that, the Inspector General of Police, David Asante Apietu, has urged police and journalists to invest their energies in fighting crime. He said, instead of the infighting between the two parties, crime is a common enemy for both, and therefore will be appropriate to build a strong partnership in order to root out the challenge. The IGP was addressing a forum organized by the Media Foundation for West Africa on police and media relations.
That at the end of this one-day forum, both institutions will appreciate our working protocols, which will go a long way in curbing future misunderstandings between the police and journalists, and their resultant negative impact on the safety and security of ourselves as well as the citizens we serve. It should also strengthen our partnership in fighting crime, which is our greatest enemy. Let us direct our energies towards fighting crime instead of fighting amongst ourselves. Surely, Ghana will continue to be a trailblazer in the democratization of Africa if the police and journalists fine-tune our relationship to avoid conflicts. In line with this, that the communication and media relations policy for the Ghana Police Service is being included in our revised service instructions, referred to by many as the Police Holy Book, to serve as a guide to all police officers in their dealings with the media. And I'm sure the details of these guidelines will be made available to you very soon.
The Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleimana Brahima, and others attending the forum impressed on the police to respect and see journalists as partners in service to the nation.
And of course, even as we have issues relating to abuses against journalists by some police officers, the solution is not to say that we would not want to talk with the police. We think that the way forward is to dialogue. Because sometimes some of these acts that are committed against journalists, if you look into it carefully, you may say, well, the journalist may not have handled himself or herself well. At other times, too, the journalist may have done what she or she is supposed to do, but perhaps the police officer may not have also acted the way it ought to be. So the best thing is to have a dialogue, to have a conversation, come up with a framework that would guide us going forward. And that is why we are deeply happy that the leadership of the police administration thought that it's important to build bridges between the police and the media.
The Ghanaian media is operating in a minefield as the society is so polarized. Almost everything, every development is viewed in a political light, and I'm not telling you anything new. It's gotten to a point that even when people go to the market, they are almost asking, is this NPP or NDC cassava? This is why the media and the police need to be able to work together in the national interest and in harmony, to be seen as non-partisan and fair to all, doing our work professionally. We need to be seen to be collaborating to serve the nation better. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes the signals are disturbing. I recall that some years ago, when I was the president of the Ghana Journalists Association, I was embarrassed at a function by a senior police officer when I asked for his contact, as is the habit of journalists. To my surprise and embarrassment, he told me he could not give me his contact because he had made it a rule never to give his contact to people. Yet this was a senior police officer who was often in the news, so he was no stranger to the media. If he wasn't ready to give his contact to a media person, and no less a person than the GJA president, then how did he see his relationship with the media? I wondered. In any case, did I look like the type of person who would use his name to go and borrow money? We have had many occasions to question how the police see us because of the way some of them treat journalists, including instances of downright intimidation and even assault. I stress that it is some police officers. But even if it is only one or two, in my view, it is one too many. It simply shouldn't happen, and not from any quarters either. We should be partnering one another, police and media, giving due recognition, educating where necessary. We cannot see ourselves as enemies.
You just heard Adjoa Yeboah Aferi, former president of the GJA, also speaking at that forum. Away from that, the Ghana Water Company Limited has been given the green light to demolish over 100 houses that are illegally sited in the catchment area of the OWABI Dam and the company's lands at Bonkache and Esase, all in the Ashanti region. This follows the Kumasi High Court's dismissal of an application seeking to restrain the company from claiming ownership of the encroached land. Jase Hene of Sene Nana Oseyao filed that application last year to prevent the state and the Ghana Water Company Limited from recovering any part of the said land encroached by the former in his assigns. But High Court Judge Justice Senyo Amedahe ruled that granting such an order could affect the production of potable water to Kumasi and its environs. Ohiming Teria has more.
The OWABI Dam currently produces 2 million gallons of water, below its full capacity of 3 million gallons of water daily. Its 22 feet depth has been reduced to 7 feet due to siltation. Attempts by the Ghana Water Company to protect the catchment of the OWABI Dam have not yielded the desired results. Developers continue to encroach on the dam despite the adverse implication of the actions. At least 3 people, including a middle-aged man believed to have sold land to private developers, were arrested in 2016. In an attempt to prevent the Ghana Water Company from recovering the stolen lands, plaintiff Nana Oseyao argued in court that the Ghana Water Company failed to pay compensation to landowners. But the court ruled he could resort to legal avenues to ensure payment of compensations. The court further ruled production of water for Kumasi and its environs will suffer if the application is granted. The ruling has paved way for the demolition of structures sited illegally of the company's lands. The Ghana Water Company has been carrying out public announcements warning residents of an impending demolition exercise. Officials in the region have declined comment, saying they have not been authorized to speak to the issue. None of the developers were on site during our visit to the area. But Insure News sources say the plaintiff has filed an appeal at the appeals court for a review of the High Court decision. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Ohimintiwia reporting.
Chiefs and people of communities affected by negative activities of mining are collaborating with Tirano Mines to rid communities of filth, especially plastic waste. Choked drains caused by indiscriminate disposal of plastic waste account largely for perennial floods in cities and rural communities. Management of Tirano Mines has not only dedicated a day to clean the environment, but also joined locals to embark on a cleanup exercise in communities in which they operate. Nanasa Nsumensa has more.
Mining and related activities came to standstill when over 300 workers at Tirano Mines left the pits and shafts to rid local communities of filth. The initiative is targeted at averting any threat of floods which have caused loss of lives and properties in some parts of the country. Amid intensified rains, chiefs and people of Pabuase, Echebo and Akoti complimented the miners in the effort to prevent malaria and other filth-related diseases. General Manager of Tirano Gold Mines, Adriano Sobrara, wants residents to institutionalize the exercise at least once every month.
You know that right around the world, plastic is creating a big problem for our communities, for our rivers, for our oceans. And they say that in 20 years' time we'll have more plastic than fish in the ocean, the microorganism, because plastic doesn't break down too easily. It stays in the sea, and this is obviously a problem not only for the fish in the sea, but also for human beings. And you can see how much just this 300 people of Tirano at Pabuase, because we're doing 3 communities today. We're doing Pabuase, Echebo and Akoti. And it is our interaction with the communities and the leaders, but more importantly, we want to teach the children. They are the next generation. We want them to know the harms and the consequences of doing the right or the wrong thing. So today is about educating. It's about engaging our community. It's about becoming one as a community and a mine, because most of our people live in these communities, and telling the families and the children, you know, why it's important to clean up the community. We're focusing on plastics, but not only on plastics.
Chief of Pabuase, Nana Frimpong Manson, finds the collaboration between the mine and communities a positive development.
We know in Ghana, environmental pollution is everywhere, especially in terms of rubbish that come of polythene bags and they take away both. And as a mining company, We have most of the mining workers within Pabuase, Aputi, Echabu. These three communities are the most immediate communities in the catchment area of Chirano Gold Mines. Since most of the workers are living here, and they always use that takeaway bowls and some plastic bags, so they should all assist the company, the chiefs, the committee, and the assemblies to drive away mosquitoes.
Reporting for Joy News, Nana Asensumensa.
Now, researchers are warning highbrow communities are not exempted from possible food contamination through fecal matter. Dr. Benjamin Doe of the Faculty of Art and Built Environment of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology says possible contamination through market produce is highly probable and therefore advises all to guard against complacency in ensuring food safety. He was speaking at a workshop to ensure public health safety in Kumasi. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah has more.
The research, which was conducted in 5 neighborhoods in Ghana, found 4 pathways of contamination, that is drains, drinking water, produce and public latrines. Though most environmental conditions were favorable, wastewater irrigated produce found its way into these high-income neighborhoods. Speaking at a workshop in Kumasi, Dr. Doe believes proper food handling has become crucial.
When it comes to pathways such as public toilets, we realize that it reduced from the poorest community, the risk of contamination reduced from the poorest community to the high-income community. Okay, but when it came to a pathway like the fresh produce, and I mean tomato, lettuce, cabbage, onion, pepper, and so on, which sometimes we don't cook and eat raw, it was high across board. So what it means is that you might be in a high-income area and might think that you are not exposed to water from the drains, or you might not be exposed to contamination from the public toilet. But when it comes to the fresh produce, we all go to the same market, don't we? So what it means is that we have to be careful with how we handle the fresh produce.
The team, therefore, has developed what it refers to as Sunny Path Exposure Assessment 2. The program, in its 3rd phase, is designed to assess public health risk related to poor sanitation and to help prioritize sanitation investments. It is based on exposures that have the greatest public health impact. As part of the initiative, the team will support staff of MMDAs in the use of the tool. Benedict Tufo is project coordinator for the 3rd phase.
The project seeks to achieve 2 major, if you like, objectives. One is to train the local government officials to know how to use the tools to gather data, analyze, and also make informed decisions about sanitation investments. And the second objective is to also establish a kind of institutional capacity to always deliver this kind of capacity building to other municipalities that may also require that service. And even
reporting for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
Watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubedu. Recap of our top stories. Inspector General of Police David Asante Appiah urges police and journalists to direct their energies in fighting crime instead of the infighting, which is negatively affecting their relationship. Also, Human Rights Court has quashed the 3-year suspension handed lawyer Francis-XAVIER SOSU. Thanks for staying here on Joy News today. Now, what plans do you have for your wedding gown? Some of them really expensive after the wedding ceremony. And what about those of you who have been wedded already? Well, ahead of the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair, which kickstarts tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center, we've been sampling the views of some women on what they've been using their gowns for.
Actually, when I did my own wedding, I rented my wedding gown from the rental shop. But most people, when they buy their own wedding gown, they normally rent it out. When they are done with it, they rent it out. But in my own case, I rented. So when I'm done, I return it to the rental shop.
Nothing is still there.
just lying there. It's now white elephant. I can't use it anymore. It wouldn't fit anybody I know. Yeah, so it's still there. I don't think it's a waste because it's our day, the Women's Day. We like to look extraordinary that day. So if you buy it and you can sell it later, it's fine. You can do that later. But mine is still there. It's lying there, and I don't think I can use it anymore.
Put it in your bag. Some years to come, I learned when you die, you wear it again. So refer towards your death. For me, my own, after the wedding, I just dump it somewhere because normally after the wedding, you don't use it. If it doesn't fit on someone, you can't use it. But in my case, after I finish my wedding, one of my sister-in-law's friends left me.
Well, joining me in studio is the project lead for this year's bridal fair, Adam Naite, to tell us more on what to expect at the fair this year. Adam, you're welcome.
Thank you,
First off, before we go into the details, where is your wedding gown?
It's still in the suitcase after 15 years.
My goodness.
Don't ask any further questions than that.
15 years?
Yes.
Wow, interesting. Well, so what can we expect differently at this year's
Joy, Beauty, and Bridal
Fair?
Lots of things happening this year. For instance, you know, this year the fair is being manned by the personalities. So you're in there. You're not going to see faceless people this year. Everybody you're going to see as part of the fair is a multimedia personality. So the brochure, you have all of them in it on the catwalk. Even tomorrow at the opening ceremony, you can't miss it. Yeah. You should come and see the bride and the groom. And I keep saying that something interesting is going to happen tomorrow, so you will have to be there. That's the first thing. You know about the chat series. When are you having yours?
This afternoon at 2:35.
So the more couples we have for the fair, everybody is having a chat series where we're looking at various topics and various issues that comes up in relationships and marriages, and we talk about them. And then the interesting part is you get the views of all the you get the views of people who are viewing us on Facebook and YouTube as well. So it's very interesting. Another big one is the happy hour, which is happening on Friday evening from 7 to 10 p.m. You know, the wedding dance, the couples first dance and all that is a big issue right now. So Dance Terra will be there on Friday night from 7 all through to 10. We're going to have grills and drinks and have fun, like, you know, you do at the how do you call it, the bachelor's night and all that. And then they will use the opportunity also to teach people how to take a few steps. It's going to be very big. Then this year also, we have fused the marriage seminar and the fashion show. Okay. So it's a fused event. You're going to have performances from Solo 7. Adakwe is going to be there. Legend is going to be there as well. So it's a whole new event. After so many years, after about 15 years, we're giving it a new touch, a new face, and you can't just afford not to be there.
All right. So how long is this fair running?
It's running from tomorrow, the 12th of July, all through to the 15th of July on Sunday.
Someone may be saying, well, I don't have a wedding. Why should I be at the Joy?
It's everything beauty and bridal. So it doesn't necessarily have to be about your wedding, accessorizing after the wedding, or even going for church services. You will find a lot of things there for both men and women. Even some of our vendors will come with kids stuff. So just come and, you know, feast your eyes on stuff. And it doesn't have to be just you coming to buy. There are lots of other things happening. For instance, the marriage seminar. You know the topics we're dealing with? One of the big topics is orgasm. What's the big deal? People have always been wondering. We're looking at, you know, how to prepare for a satisfying sexual experience. We're looking at how passion and familiarity can kill the passion in your marriage. So all of those are coming up. And then we're also, one other topic is, could your partner be having an affair? You're looking at the telltale signs and how to deal with all of them. So this event is just jazzed
super
up.
packed.
It's
Okay,
jazzed
but you
up.
know we can't go away without talking about discounts, because sometimes, you know, that helps. You know,
Why
a
did
lot
I
of people
forget
like
that?
to hear that one. It's sweet
It's
in
not
the
just
ear.
discounts. This year we have deal sales, or what people call flash sales. So probably between, I'm not giving the exact time though, but it could be that between 12 and 1, we'll just have a flash sale, and you can pick items at like almost zero cost. So we will be announcing the deal times. So you will have to
be there.
To be there, to pick up that thing you want to pick at that deal cost. So you will have to stay tuned in and make sure you are there. That's just it.
I mean, that's the crux of it. Make sure you are there. Thank you so much, Project Lead Adam Knighty, giving us some more details on the Joy Beauty and Bridal Fair, which opens tomorrow at the Accra International Conference Center. You do want to make a date with all of us because we all will be there. It's been a pleasure bringing you the news this afternoon. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Benis Abube.